Okay, welcome to the Town Board meeting for Thursday, January 19th. I make a motion to go into executive session for appointment of a particular person.
I'll second that. Oh, I guess, do we need to vote?
Supervisor Brody?
Yes.
Councilpersons
Yes.
Blackman and Rebellard. Let the
Yes.
record reflect that Councilwoman Doyle and Councilman Gutierrez are absent.
Okay, I make a motion to exit executive session, return to regular meeting.
I'll second that.
Here we go. It's 7:33. Supervisor Brody?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Gutierrez is absent, and I'm sorry, I'm just so used to seeing the boys down there. And Brad.
Yes.
I'm like, there's no day. And for the public that is returning to the regular meeting, let the record reflect that Councilman Gutierrez did reach out to us and indicate that he will be absent this evening.
I
We're
did
late.
not receive anything.
I think
back.
late, but we'll see.
Well, I did.
Oh, you
text
didn't reach him?
I texted him, he did not reply.
Oh, all right,
He
so
may
maybe
be in
not.
transit. so.
Okay, can we rise and salute the flag?
He's not coming.
He's not coming. That's what I thought.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Emergency exits are behind the town attorney and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Supervisor Brody?
Here.
Councilpersons Doyle? Here. Blackman?
Here.
Rebellard?
Yes,
And
here.
again, Gutierrez is absent.
Town clerk report and minutes.
Okay.
Victoria, excuse me one second. Should I call George, tell him not to come?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
think
all right.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be starting off the town clerk's report with the acknowledgement, and I know the circulation has already gone around to each of the board members. I'm in receipt of a resignation from Tom Basil as our building inspector with an effective date of January 20th.
I'll make a motion that we accept with regret the resignation of Tom Basil as our building inspector.
I'll second that.
Supervisor Brody?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
And Rebellard?
Yes.
Switching real quick into the town clerk's hat and role, putting into the record the notice of receipt of the tax roll and warrant for the year of 2023. That please take notice that I, Dawn Marie Kligner, the undersigned collector of the taxes of the town of Amenia, county of Dutchess, and the state of New York, have duly received the tax roll and warrant for the collection of taxes within the town of Amenia for the year of 2023, and that I will attend 4988 Route 22 from January 3rd, 2023 through February 28th, 9 o'clock in the 9 o'clock in the forenoon and 2 o'clock in the afternoon on each day, excepting Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and holidays for the purposes
You can take a breath and
of
read.
listing the
slower.
taxes of the said. I have to read it twice this month and next month. So please take further notice that taxes may be paid on or before February 28th of 2023. On all of the taxes received after such date, there shall be an additional 1% for each additional month or fraction thereof until such taxes are paid or until the return of the unpaid taxes to the county treasurer pursuant to law. So right now, between January through February 28th, there is a 0% penalty. March 1 through March 31st, 2% penalty. April 1 through April 30th, 3% penalty. May 1 through May 31st, 4% penalty. June 1 until the settlement with county treasurer, 5%. In addition, after May 15th, there is a fee of $2 that will be added for each parcel. Take further notice that pursuant to all the provisions of the law of the tax roll, the town of Amenia will be returned to the county treasurer of the county of Dutchess on the first day of June, and that's dated January 5th. So with that being said, and everybody wants to know why am I reading that, it is town tax collection time. Everyone that has their tax bill that they've received in their mail is because you do not have a bank code on there. For anyone that has been successfully paid off their home and they no longer have a mortgage, I'd first like to start off by congratulating you. That is a huge achievement. For many, that's 30 years. So with that being said, it does take a year to remove that tax code. So if you have not received a tax bill and you are personally looking to pay your taxes, please visit us here at our at the town office Monday through Thursday, 9 to 2 for tax purposes, or you may visit www.ameniany.gov where you may view and pay your taxes online. You can pay by e-check, by credit card. It's very easy. 300 of your fellow residents have already done so, so taxes are coming in. So I know it's up and working, but I like to stress it that this time of year, it's your property taxes that are due, and they're due and paid here at the town clerk's office. Annual report regarding our DEC. For the total year for our Department of Environmental Conservation, our total sales were $529.65. That has been remitted to the supervisor. So of the $10,000 that we collect for DEC, we keep that small little smidgen of a portion. Just as for our town clerk report, for November, local share was remitted to the supervisor in the amount of $351.20. Total collected for the month of November was $410.70. And for the month of December, $280 was remitted to the supervisor, and total collected was $323.50. I am in receipt, and I did circulate to the board prior to tonight's meeting, I did receive comments. It was addressed to the planning board as well as the town board. They did receive their own copy pertaining to the Troutbeck project. So that was emailed. If you guys have any comments, questions, or wanted to address it, but we are acknowledging that we are in receipt of a resident's comments pertaining to that project. So I know we have a liaison to planning board. And then the minutes. We have some minutes. I know some have had the opportunity to provide comments on. Was the board ready to take any action with those tonight?
Well, I guess I wanted to say that I didn't get through the entirety of them, but I did get as far as Vicky's comments.
Great.
And so thank you, Vicky, for reviewing all that. But most of it seemed like, I was afraid that there were going to be structural issues in terms, well, not structural issues, but there were going to be content issues. And they didn't seem to be content issues, but mostly edits and form and, corrections. So I didn't see anything beyond that seemed out of order.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the February 17th, 2022 minutes as with the corrections I recommended.
Second?
Or each one individually? Or did you
I
want
would.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not a problem. Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Bevelard?
Yes.
Okay, I would make a motion that we accept the February 23rd, 2022 minutes as per my recommended edits.
Second?
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Bevelard?
Yes.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes of March 3rd, 2022 with the edits I recommended.
Second?
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Bevelard?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of Wednesday, March 16th, 2022, special town board meeting with the edits I recommended.
Second?
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Bevelard?
Yes.
Motion to approve the March 17th, 2022 minutes as recommended.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Motion to approve the April 7th, 2022 minutes as I recommended.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Motion to approve the April 21st, 2022 minutes as edited.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Motion to approve the May 5th, 2022 minutes as edited.
I'll second that.
Supervisor Perotti?
Abstain.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Motion to approve the May 19th, 2022 minutes as edited.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Motion to approve the June 2nd, 2022 minutes as edited.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yep.
Revelard?
Yes.
Motion to approve the June 16th, 2022 minutes as edited.
Second.
Okay. Perotti?
Yes.
Okay. Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Thanks.
Good?
Yep,
Okay.
that's all I have for now.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then we'll continue those at the next meeting.
Yep.
So Vicky will get us her changes and we'll go from there. Also presenting this evening to the town board vouchers consisting of December paid in January prepaid, as well as our normal January bills. And they are broken down as follows. General Fund A, $221,944.64. Highway Fund, $72,704.76. Amenia Lighting, $1,064.46. Wasake Lighting, $396.23. Amenia Water, $17,957.23, for a total on the abstract and seeking authorization for the supervisor to pay claims in the amount of $314,067.32.
I so move.
I'll second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Okay.
And regarding another report that I have in my possession and that has been circulated prior to the meeting is the board from the building department telling us for the month of December, their total income was $8,375. Does indicate how many title and CO searches they've done, fire inspections, vacant land registrations, and building permits. Also, he does note on the bottom that there were 4 violations issued during the month of December. And then following in your summary, it does have the payment details for the month. Being January and a new year, and I do note that at the last meeting, we have some new liaisons to some new committees, so that's super great and exciting. And I'd like to kind of plead to each of you as you guys are attending these meetings. There's some information that I would love if it can make it back to the town hall. I know that there's going to be selection of new chairs coming up, so if we can find out if you can make sure that Nancy, myself, and Annette are informed of who those chairs are so we can update the website and our call down list, so we know that. Also, I know that some of the committees are still meeting by Zoom, and although it may have been circulated prior and we're keeping those same Zoom links, or if there's new ones with the new year, I'm not sure, with the new changes of the groups, if you can please send those. I know that we had a committee meeting last night, and at 6 o'clock I got the agenda, and I was ecstatic because it's the first time I got an agenda for a committee that met last night. But unfortunately at 6 p.m., when the meeting is starting in an hour from then, there was no way for me to have anyone in the building and send it to staff to circulate it and get it posted on our website and let anyone know. And currently our calendar shows that it was like an in-person meeting, so I want to make sure I can do everything I can do to work with the supervisor, and she's allowed me to work with her staff now to make sure things are correct and current. And the only way that we can do that is if I can let Nancy and Annette know if something's via Zoom or something's in person. So if you guys can work with them to get that information to us, it would be an extreme helpful tool.
So you're looking to get the agenda and confirmation?
If there's agendas, yeah, and their minutes, I'm going to be sending those to Nancy and Annette to get those on while I don't have Erica in the office for the next little bit. So I'm going to have to, I'm just trying to get all the information that I can out there.
Yep.
I know the supervisor has always read in her report that we send them to her staff to update the website, so I just want to try to help bring the new year. And I know you guys are new on some committees.
Yeah, if it's going to be put on the calendar and the meeting isn't in person, it needs to state
Okay.
that it's a Zoom meeting in the advertisement.
So
On the
I'm really
calendar.
recommending that if you guys can get those to us, 3-4 days before the meeting, so they can advertise them. And I do know that her staff is here 8 to 4 Monday through Thursday. So that's kind of the window that we have to be able to get it to them. They're the ones that will be doing the posting for that. So we really need to try to work with their schedule as well, should any one of them be absent. And that'll just, everybody, if they ask. And if we're going to come and have a meeting here at Town Hall, and you guys have a meeting, and then, we let somebody else meet there, I'm just trying to make everybody happy. I know it's hard with a busy schedule sometimes.
I have a question
Sure.
regarding that same issue. For a new committee that, and for any committee, how does the first meeting get called if the chairs are appointed at the beginning? So is it the liaison's responsibility to try and help organize their
Yes.
first meeting so that they can get together? Because otherwise, nobody calls a meeting because nobody's the chair, right?
Well, there's no reason why a liaison can't
Facilitate that.
facilitate that.
Okay.
Looking for a meeting date.
Okay.
On our new committee, the Comprehensive Plan Review Committee,
Right. They need to.
Annette has been printing out the comprehensive plan and zoning for all the members of that committee and getting information together for them to start.
Okay. And so she just sends to all of the members, but somebody needs to call a meeting. So
Right.
we help organize a doodle poll or something to
Right.
get them going. Okay.
I'm not jumping on recreation because I see he's here, but I do have a couple announcements to share on behalf of Michelle. We have some senior trips coming up. So for the year of 2023, she's already has 3 trips scheduled. So save the date, mark your calendar, get ready for some fun. March 14th, they're going to AquaTurf. It's a St. Patrick's Day celebration. So anyone interested in coming and having, I'm sure it's traditional, yes, corned beef and cabbage. Tuesday, March 14th, the cost to attend that trip is $52 per person. Looking ahead into our fall, October 10th, she's going to go back to the AquaTurf. It looks like they're all at the AquaTurf. They're going to do the Polka Family Band, lemon chicken, pork, schnitzel, complimentary coffee and donuts. That sounds like fun. Again, $52. and ending the year out with the holiday classics with Downtown Six Band Sing Along and the Glamour Girls. That's going to be held on Tuesday, December 12th, and again, $52. All of these right now have a departure time of 8 a.m., leaving Tally Ho, and then they're going to meet up in the Freshtown parking lot at 8:30. Michelle can be reached at area code 845-877-9430. I do know that everyone that's currently on her mailing list, they went out between yesterday and today. She had 100 printed up, so check your mailbox over the weekend. Anyone interested in being added to the notification in the mailing list, please feel free to give us a call here at the town hall, and we will be sure to get these sent to you and make you in contact with Michelle. We also have another event coming up. Please save the date. It's going to be right here at the Amenia Town Hall. It is our annual blood drive. It's going to be held on Wednesday, February 1st in the gymnasium from 3 p.m. till 7:30. You guys have heard me give the big speech for the past 10 years, and I'm very thankful for those that have taken the time out of their very busy schedules to donate blood, because it does save a life. And I do have that story to share, because my loved one is here and still doing strong because of the 2 pints of blood that he received. So it is a very personal, special occasion for us, hosting a blood drive here at the town hall. And, you know, I can plead and say, please, please, please come, because, you know, we have a story to tell, and we know it's a positive outcome. And so with February being Heart Month, it's not just love, it's not just wear red, visit your doctor, check your cholesterol, you know your numbers, know yourself, but taking an hour out of your busy day does save a life. And because of that very special 2 people out there who will never know who you are, today, Chris and I get to celebrate our 21st wedding anniversary. So my plea to you, in us celebrating this, please find time to donate blood. If not here at the Amenia Town Hall on February 1st, the next time you're driving down the street and you see that there's an open blood drive, please try it. And, you know, pinches for a quick second, and then after that, it's just it means a lot. So that's my, you know, little spiel tonight about donating blood and the advantages of doing so.
I have a question about the recreation. How old do you have to be to
Go on this trip?
join the seniors?
55.
55.
Okay, thanks.
I saw the commercial this morning. ARP takes you at 50, so I mean, I think we can talk to Michelle if someone's interested.
Just curious.
If there's no other questions, that'll conclude my report.
Yeah, could you
Sure.
give a copy of those to Paul?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask for. I'd like to have better coordination with Michelle with all the senior stuff, so that we can absolutely promote it through recreation, because this is a recreation activity, and it should be something that falls under recreation, I think, for the town meeting, so thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what I raised my hand for.
I saw you
I might have
waving.
snuck on a trip or 2, and they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, save the
Yeah,
date.
yeah, they let her go.
They're really a lot of
Is
fun.
it my turn now? Okay.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I can turn it over.
How we doing, everybody? Paul Winters, Amenia Recreation. Hopefully everybody had a good holiday, Christmas, New Year. Things have been going really well. We've been pretty busy. This past week, the town got the job positions up on the town website for both the full-time recreation director. That position is really needed within this town. It's going to expand tremendously the amount of recreation that we can offer to the community. So that position is now up on the town website, so that is up until February 9th. We've kind of kept it a short amount of time to get some resumes in, so get your resumes in. If you just go into the town website, you'll see that there. We also learned that we cannot have our recreation director run our summer camp program, which makes no sense to us, but we're going to deal with it, right? So we also have that position open for the latter half of the summer. What we're doing this year is we're going to be sharing summer camp responsibilities with AWCO, because whenever my kids were young, it was always an issue being able to find a babysitter in the summertime, right? You get summer camp would run like 4 to 5 weeks, and then you would have 4 to 5 weeks where you would have nobody. And when you have 2 working parents within a household, it makes it a hard time. So we decided at the commission to team up with AWCO, and we will be able to offer summer camp to residents for their kids for all summer, all through the month of July and all through August. That'll be something new this year. We're pretty excited to be doing that. So first we have to hire a summer camp director. So any of you teachers out there or anybody else that has just a little bit of experience, it seems like, please fill in or set your resume in. It'll run for the second half of the summer in August. The pay is going to be a little better than it has been before. The town board has been graceful to us this past year and gave us a little extra money to improve our recreation, so things will be a little bit better. Also, it's my understanding that tonight we're going to be discussing the bylaws, which I'm appreciative of. That's going to help this recreation a lot. The next thing I want to talk about is current programs. So right now we have, on Sundays, we have Amenia Recreation Cheer, and that has 34 students. I believe that ends in the next 2 months, and then they'll be starting a new program. On Sundays, we have pickleball from 6 to 8, ran by Elliot Soroka. There's probably about 15 to 20 people showing up on a Sunday night here at the town hall to play pickleball. It's pretty cool. Just this week, we started a pitching clinic for our both Millerton and Amenia Weebatuck students. Since Weebatuck Little League, covers both Millerton and Amenia, we made sure that this pitching clinic was open to both students of both communities, and that runs on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That starts at 6 o'clock and runs till 8, and that's ran by our former local Pirate professional pitcher, John Lamb. Then again on Tuesdays, we have pickleball from 6 to 8, and they're pulling in 15, 20 people on a Tuesday night to play pickleball, so come on down, folks. Also on Tuesday nights at the Weebatuck High School, we have volleyball. That's ran by Susie Dohoney. They're having like 12 to 20 people show up, so volleyball is going rather well. And on Thursday nights from 5:30 to 6:30, we have line dancing. That's ran by Gloria Taspog?
Tatsipal.
There we go. And that's got 12 to 15 students showing up. And then on Thursday nights from 6:30 to 7:30, we have karate. That's ran by Mark Davis, and he's got 7 to 10 students showing up. So we do have classes out here, folks. So let's make use of them, right? Because that's what we're here for. The new program that we're trying to bring in is a program called Tai Chi. It's going to be offered by Chris Kiley from Kent, Connecticut. It's Falling Waters Tai Chi. We're going to start this in April. We had multiple meetings over the past couple weeks trying to find an appropriate space for him, and he felt that the best space would be here at the here at the town hall. We're probably going to run out on Wednesday nights. It'll be from 6 to 8 o'clock, starting in April. During all these meetings that we had, I've also had a couple meetings with the Weebatuck High School. They have 3 buildings up there. They have the high school, they have the elementary, and they had the middle school with a lot of space. And this space is open to the community. So if someone in the community has a program that they would like to see, just reach out to the Recreation Commission, right? We'll sponsor it. We'll find a way to get it going for you. We have the space. We just need to have the ideas. That's part of the reason why we're hiring a full-time rec director, but I always like it better whenever it comes directly from the community. With that said, the pitching clinic for next year will be moving to Weebatuck Elementary or to the Weebatuck Middle School, and it'll be running there from now on, so we can open up more space here at the town hall. Let's see, what else did I have? I heard that comment before about agendas. I did create an agenda for us this past time. Just to give everybody an idea of what our agenda was on 110, we had our reorganization where we did select a new chairman, which they unfortunately checked on me again. So I am now currently the chairman again. We had a status update on the recreation director, which that's ongoing. We had a program status update where we found out, what the actual usage was. We had a landscape architect progress report. We're currently working with Jane Dodona to gather all the necessary maps that she needs to be able to create the proper steps going forward, right? Because it's going to be a process. It's going to take 2 or 3 months. We expect her to show up to a recreation meeting sometime in February, either the first or the second one, but she will be coming. Also, we're working towards getting our summer music concert series going, just so the community understands what this is. This will be 6 weeks of music starting in July. We're going to hold it right down here at the basketball court. We're going to open that up to any nonprofit within the community that wants to come down and sell some food, because we'll run the music from like 6 to 8 on a particular night. So like if the Amenia Firehouse wants to come down, or if the Amenia Library wants to come down, or the Amenia Lions wants to come down and try to fundraise some food during our activity, we encourage that. And then the next thing is we're currently working with Ms. Rilbard, Brad's wife, has donated some time for us to help create our quarterly newsletter. We expect to have that sent out within the next 2 weeks. That will be like in a calendar style that will be going out to every resident within the Amenia zip code, and that will go out every 3 months, and that will update everybody on anything that's ongoing and any upcoming stuff. I did have a request from Elliot that some of the lights in the gym need to be replaced. I don't know who I would direct that to.
You just did.
Okay. There's a few bulbs that are out with inside the.
I'll take care
Yeah,
of it.
so if you guys take a look at that and work that out. And I think that's it. Anybody have any questions?
I have a comment.
Yeah, sure.
Regarding the landscape plan. I heard today from Pat Chrissy, CRISCI, from Trout Unlimited.
Okay.
And we reconnected on a Zoom call, and I reminded her that I saw that she was from Trout Unlimited, that Trout Unlimited had expressed interest in expanding the fishing access and amenities
Yep.
down at Wassaic Park. She wrote back and said that I'm following up to reiterate Trout Unlimited's continued interest in the Wassaic Town Park upgrade project, the revitalization ideas that we had, at least from the CAC's point of view. They have also ideas for stabilizing the banks, where the banks are starting to fall in and where we might be prone for flooding, and looking at ways to work to make that creek, stable and
Sure.
solid. As you may know, there is a designated New York State DEC public fishing access point to Wassaic Creek within the park. Working together, we can make the park a space where residents can safely recreate, hike, play, fish, enjoy the natural beauty of the area. Please let me know what the next steps are and how we might be able to help. So
If you want to forward her information right along to me.
I did, because I mentioned that we had hired a landscape architect, and their ideas and input might be very valuable
Sure.
at the planning stage,
Well,
so that we could.
As I had proposed within our Recreation Commission, is to approach DEC about their fishing area that they have up top along 22, and possibly relocating it as we move forward with the town garage, and possibly using some of the current town garage space as parking for Wassaic Park, because that is a problem down there.
Right.
And I felt that if we worked together with DEC, and now I hear Trout Unlimited, that we could create a decent space for parking and then possibly a new access point, so we're not traveling on private land in order to use the bridge to get to the park. These are things that, are going to take some money, and the more partners that we have within this,
Yeah.
the better it will be. So please forward the information on to me, and I will move her right in with the rest of the conversation.
Yeah.
Anything else? No? Good. Excellent. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, for discussion, we have real property exemptions. Our assessor, Donna DePippo, sent us information. Apparently, the county has increased the limits or the scale for some of the exemptions. One is the senior citizen and person with disabilities and limited income. It was Senate Bill, looks like S3085A. Her recommendation would be to increase the scale to at least 31,600 to 40,000 for the 3/123 assessment. Or we could go slightly higher to be more in line with proposals of neighboring towns, would be 35,000 through 44,400. So the board have any recommendations? Because we would have to set a public hearing at the next meeting.
This is the,
Senior exemption.
but this is the cap, this is the maximum they can make to get,
Yes.
to be eligible for the exemption.
Right.
Well, I think that, it is great if we can help our seniors and,
Yeah, we've had no increases in 15 years, so.
no,
No, really.
wow. I
That's
think
a-
we should do this for sure.
Right, so which one would you like to do them?
Well, if we haven't done it in 15 years, I think we better do the higher
Do the
one.
higher one?
Millerton is doing a 5% increase to 43,400 as their threshold. And the medium one would be the 35 to 44, is that what you're talking about?
Right.
So I guess I would go 44,400. I would go on the higher side. In other words, the cost of living has gone up considerably, right? So those people earning such a low, this is a household income? Or
Yeah.
it's a individual income?
Yes.
Oh, that's very low.
Just for laughs,
mean,
Vicki, well,
You
not
can't
for
really live
laughs.
here at this, I mean, the median household income in Dutchess is like 65,
It said
isn't
that,
it? 65K?
I heard on the radio that New York State just did a survey and determined that 50% of people who live in New York State are not earning a living wage. In other words, cannot afford to feed
live
their
here.
families. And
Yeah,
50% of people in New York State.
yeah, it's,
That was pretty shocking.
So would we need to make a motion to authorize, To authorize
change these, you'd need a
because
local
I
law.
think we need to do a, we need to
Right.
do a public hearing.
Yeah, local law, I would prepare the local law. As far as the timing of this,
In February, and then have the public hearing on February 19th. I think that's, or 19th, or what is the date in the second meeting?
19th, so it goes February, that's not home.
Well, I think it's February 2nd is the first meeting. So 14 would be the 16th.
Do you have time to get that published?
If you have it all done, then the
You'll
first
have it
time
when
it
you have
publishes is the 9th.
And that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's enough, that'll do it.
So that's enough, right?
Yeah, I think so.
As long as the legal notice makes it to them by noon.
Yeah, so I'd have to
There's no
draft
holidays
a
there.
local law to amend that. And we
And
could
we'll do
introduce
that
it.
on February 2nd. And then we'll hold the public hearing, and you can have the resolution ready for the change on the 19th, and that'll give her plenty of time to, the assessor plenty of time
And is
to,
that for senior citizens and persons with disability?
yeah, it's both.
Both scales? I
Yeah.
don't know if there's 2 different scales.
Alternative veterans and war veterans.
it's
And what
whatever
scale are we
one we,
looking to do?
it's whatever one we already have. I know we have the senior citizen one.
According to this email,
Yeah, she said the senior exemption.
yeah, so it would just be for the senior then? And what amount would the board want to do?
Do you have the emails? The 35 to 44,400. Now, we don't, I guess, we had never adopt a person with disability exemption, but I guess the town did adopt the senior one. Did you want to do the disability one also, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should. It's the, how does the exemption work with the cap? If someone earns below the cap, what's the impact on their taxes? Is it a percentage, or do we know?
Well, this is for their assessment.
Right, but we're giving them, oh, it's a sliding scale, okay.
Yeah, it's a
Okay, so
sliding
it
scale.
varies. Okay.
No, so we wouldn't, we'd have to, we'd be able to do that offhand.
Right, and the assessor presumably would make a suggestion for that.
And then the other exemption that we have that we haven't changed in a long time are the veterans and Cold War veteran exemption.
Only Cold War?
No, it's alternative veteran exemption plus the Cold War
Oh, okay.
veteran. There's
Thank
two
you.
of them. You have the email.
I know, but it keeps getting lost in the pile. It happens. I'll find it, don't you worry.
So then there's this one, isn't it?
So are we doing just the senior citizen, or are we going to do the senior and disabilities? So we'll create the disability?
And we already have one for veterans?
Yes,
We already have one for veterans. So maybe we should try
but we
to...
need to,
These are increases.
Right.
the county has advised that they approved 2 new resolutions to increase the veteran limits on alternative and Cold War veteran exemptions.
That was just passed by the county.
Right.
But do we want to do I'm kind of backtracking a little bit on, you've asked me to do the senior citizen increase. Do we also
you
want to
wanna
do the
create
disability? You want
the
to create the
disability?
disability, and if so, what scale?
And is it all done the same way? I guess that's the question. For veterans too, there's a cap? How does the veterans one work?
It's
It's got a different one.
It's here.
There's 2 separate emails.
Okay.
So there's 2 within this
This one.
email and 1 within this email.
So it increases over time. The county is doing it, the first year, 45, 75, 150. Then the next year, in March, it remains the same. And then in 2025, it goes to 54, 90, 180. Is that right? So these are the years that they are
Right.
I think it
mandating.
might be a good idea to ask the assessor to make a suggestion on this, because it seems if we have 4 different categories for exemptions, meaning veterans, seniors, disabled.
Well,
and
that's
then-
that's what she did. That's what's in the email.
That's what these
This
are.
is from her.
Okay,
She does recommend that we.
This is what she's recommending.
okay.
Because she's recommending, because of the length of time since we have not changed a senior,
Right.
that's why she gave us her recommendations. So
Okay.
we already have that.
Right, but I was going to suggest that we're also discussing tonight the exemption for first responders, for fire and ambulance service workers who live in Amenia, also as a tax benefit. So I just think it would make sense to kind of do those 4 things in some kind of systematic way. And make it one law so that it kind of, if it's going to increase over time, that they all take the same steps, something like that.
Well, the only ones we were discussing tonight was the senior and disabilities and the veteran, because those were the ones we already had, and we were going to increase them.
Okay?
And we're going to add the persons with disabilities and limited income, because for some reason it was, we haven't added that. We've
Okay.
only had senior citizen. So those are the 4. And as far as the alternative veteran exemptions, I think instead of changing them every year is, if we do the alternative veteran exemption and the Cold War veteran exemption for 45, 75, and 150, we could just leave it. I mean, we don't have, just because the county is changing theirs for 3 years in a row, we could just,
The alternative veteran exemption and Cold War veteran exemption, those thresholds, the 45, the 75, and 150, those thresholds are for whether they were active, injured, or currently served. There's a breakdown. Those are actually categories of
I
exemptions.
see. Depends on what.
Yeah.
what
depends
happened.
what category they are.
Correct, yeah, those aren't years, that's set, there was,
Oh.
that's what they
Wait.
were set at, but then if you look, they did, so as to reduce the fiscal impact, they instituted it, or they passed the law, and then there was scheduled raises going into the future,
Right.
to just basically to combat inflation at this point, because they were in a situation as well where it hadn't been raised in a long time, and it was low. So that was the purpose behind raising it
Slowly.
slowly.
Right. Well, I think, tying ours to the counties, as Donna sort of gently suggests, makes a lot of sense. I mean, somebody obviously did a lot of work trying to figure out, how to do this in a staged manner, and then we're up to date with what the county does, rather than try and reinvent this specifically for Amenia.
I mean, I don't know what the tax impact would be.
No, I don't either.
Well, this is her recommendation, so,
But I would say there are not a huge amount of veterans in our town at this point. I mean, we have, maybe we, what is it, 5% or,
well,
who
she would
knows
be, she is aware of,
the impact.
yeah, the impact,
Okay.
that's, and, we're
She
just.
does recommend it,
Yeah,
right?
these are her recommendations.
Yeah. I think I'd go with her recommendation versus coming up with something myself.
Pretty large percentage, just from the Lions doing all banners up.
Use a microphone.
Don't, yeah,
From the Amenia Lions doing the banners for the town, on the town polls, you have a large percentage of your community is veterans.
All of the ones on the polls are still alive today?
no,
No.
no, there's
Not all of
several
them, but I'm
deceased.
just telling you that you have a large percentage of your community are veterans.
Okay, so is that what everyone wants to do then? Is follow the assessor's recommendations on those 4 exemptions?
Yeah. I would choose the higher of these, this 35 to 44,000 for the
Senior,
seniors, yes.
and then we'll add the disabilities with the, at the same?
Yeah, I would.
And then follow her recommendations for the
These-
veteran.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to create the disability. And at what level? Does she have?
The
her-
same as- same as the
seniors,
senior.
Page 1.
Okay,
With the assessor's
and
recommendation.
that's at 35 and 44.4?
Yeah.
If someone is a veteran, disabled, and a senior,
I think,
do they triple dip, or do you only get one?
They'd probably go with the most generous
I'm sure the assessor
reduction.
has that figured out. There must be,
Okay. Just think we should be clear before
well,
we...
that's an assessor question. She would
Okay.
handle that, not us. We're just changing
And
the
that's kind of,
general, we're just changing the general
I'm not in
exemptions.
disagreement with this, and I've read through her recommendations, and I think are good, but still, I wish you were here to answer some questions.
The what?
The
Answer
assessor.
questions, actually,
Yeah.
it would be
I wish the
helpful to have
assessor
here.
was here to answer some questions.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
I gave you her emails with
Yeah.
her recommendations.
Yeah, no, we all read through these, but explanations in a group board meeting help a bit more when we're meeting together.
Well, she was unable to be here, but
No.
you're more than welcome to call her
Yeah.
and ask any questions you
Yeah.
have,
No, I'd like to.
because we're not going to be dealing with this until February 2nd.
Right.
So any
okay.
question that you
Okay.
have, please call the assessor.
That's a good thing to know. February 2nd.
The-
She
the
is
issue-
available to you as well.
The issue we have is we're doing it at a very late date, and
Yeah.
so I'm trying to think this through on the fly here, whether or not we can actually comply with those timeframes, because you need to get it drafted, get it submitted, get it public hearing on it, and then have it approved.
I don't
And do all
disagree.
that before
Yeah.
March 1.
I don't disagree.
Otherwise, it doesn't matter, you can do
Yeah.
it, you'll have time to do it.
I don't necessarily disagree with her recommendations.
No, she,
Yeah.
you know, any questions that you have, call the
Yeah.
assessor and she can answer them.
Okay, thank you.
But she's unable to be here tonight.
Yeah.
And then,
I just have
you know,
concerns with
once
the
everybody
timeframe.
has their questions answered, then, I mean, we have plenty of time between now and February 2nd. Just that there's, you know, a kind of a time crunch to get it in before the roll, so.
Oh, I see.
So the firefighters we're not going to deal with at this time? Because she did ask, is that going to be on the agenda as well, the firefighters?
Well, is that something you want to discuss too?
I'd be interested in the firefighters getting a tax,
Yeah, the law that came out, it was for towns that already had that exemption. They had to had to do a new local law to update the exemption she had. She also gave, you know, recommendations on, you know, on what the criteria would be for a firefighter, like they would have to be active.
that seems important. I would be just as important as these other categories. I think the ability to give back, or, you know, give them some kind of
Yeah, I mean, I know we have had a very hard time
recruiting and, yeah.
getting people to take
Well,
this
that would be,
jobs.
you know, a good recruitment tool if they
Right,
knew they were going to be getting
Get
an
something.
exemption.
So if we're
Right.
doing a local law, if we were to do a local law to increase the numbers where it exists, wouldn't it make sense to just do this all at once?
I'd like to get it in sooner rather than later, and this is the window, right? I mean, we have barely enough time to pass.
Yeah,
these
she
through.
has-
I'm not sure you even have enough time, but
Yes, we
it's an
do.
extremely tight timeframe.
We do have time.
As far as the,
That's what she told me. She said we have to have it approved by the 19th. And then, you know, they could work with that.
as far
Or
as
the 16th, whatever that
the
date
volunteer
is.
firefighters and ambulance workers, there are a number of different questions that would need to be answered. That's a slightly more complicated. If we're just amending an amount of a current law, that's a slightly easier process than creating a law.
So
And
is the,
3 of these are creating new laws, 3 of these would be amending laws. And we also have another local law we're doing next week as well.
okay, so, but it seemed like if we already have something for veterans, we already have something for seniors, we could add disability as a category that is treated the same as seniors are, and the veterans would be increasing.
You'd be adding a new section, new code section. It would be an addition. It's not, so if you're amending a section, you can pull the section and you can just change the numbers.
Oh, I see, so that's
Otherwise,
actually
you'd
more
be, yes,
complicated.
you'd have to set forth criteria, if there were criteria, particularly for the firefighter one, there is criteria which needs to be discussed and determined.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's
So the
a slightly
firefighter
more
and the
complicated process.
disabled needs to be done separately. Disability needs to be done separately.
I mean, each of these are their own separate laws, so each of these would be changing its separate law. Each has a code section, each section's being
But
changed.
we are going to increase the veteran, alternative veteran, the Cold War, and the senior. Okay. Now, she gave us criteria also, you know, that we had to consider for the firefighter and ambulance workers.
But that's not in this packet tonight, so, right? I mean,
That was emailed, wasn't it?
No,
It's a
but you all,
different email.
you all got the email.
And I'm sorry, Victoria, the February 16th date is because of the roll going out?
Yes.
So these need to be approved.
Needs to be approved before March 1st.
Approved and filed with the Secretary of State, so it becomes effective
Okay.
before the roll. So,
March 1st. We have a meeting on March 2nd, too. Too bad. That would have given us 2 more weeks to resolve this.
So,
I mean, if
we
you're
could-
amending current law, like I
well,
said, that's,
we could have a special meeting before the 2nd. And that would give us more time to, okay, town clerk, what do you think?
So the thing what Ian's trying to point out is you have to have it filed with the Secretary of State. And we don't have to have it stamped in our hands because as soon as they file it, it goes online and Ian will have access to see it and then we can print it out and give it to Donna. The question and concern is getting it actually filed with the state and the state receiving it and marking it in and stamping it.
it's a very tight time frame to make it happen. And I'm concerned if there's
But
any,
if we had a special meeting before the 2nd,
So if you were to have a meeting next week, if you can prepare it and introduce it, then you still have, then you're off. Then instead of having February 9th, then you're meeting February 9th, not February 2nd. If that made any sense, like you.
No, it didn't, but that's all right.
you would
I'll look
have-
at a calendar
your
and then
meeting-
it probably
your
will.
meeting, your calendar dates would be off. Because if he has your resolutions and you bring it back and he introduces it, and then you have the public hearing on the 2nd, right? So it would you.
I'm sorry.
You could, if
Yeah.
you're, if you had a
Yeah.
special meeting next Thursday, if you had,
The 26th, in other words. Boom.
like, forget that being, like, bringing everything up a week in time. But we don't have, like, the earliest you can't because you don't have everything prepared for tomorrow.
No,
So, I mean.
no, these aren't just, I'll get it done in a second. I mean, you gotta look
You're
at
not
it.
staying up
no,
all
but you
night?
can do it for
You
next
can't
week.
stay up all night?
Next week is difficult. My wife is having a procedure. I have a personal matter, and I am away on the 26th and 27th. I am not in the office. I'm not even in the country. So, I mean, having it ready by the 2nd, I'm just concerned of the timeframes. I'm not quite sure if this needs to be referred anywhere. I don't think that it does, but I would want to
No, it
check
doesn't.
that. And then I can talk with Donna about some of these other things we'll have to write in. I'd have to, I mean, I haven't even looked at our own code sections, so this is the first that this is being discussed. So it is an
But the
extremely tight
2nd and the
time.
16th would,
Particularly if we're drafting a new
work.
law.
Well, it sounds like there's 2 different things. There's existing law for veterans, there's existing
Correct.
law for seniors. So those would be an adjustment to the numbers.
I
but
think
those
amending
laws
those
exist.
numbers is a feasible.
is the easiest thing.
Absolutely, and I think that's feasible under this timeframe. To draft 3 new laws,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I mean, I think if we can't get this in by this year, it would still be nice to get in for the next time the roll gets out, so I don't think.
you'll have almost a full year to do it. It's a ton of time to do it, and we can do it at any point in time. And like I said, with the firefighter one, there's a lot more considerations that need to go into that particular law. I know for a fact was just laid on the desk in the county, so the county hasn't passed this law yet, but it's to be voted on. So, and there are some things the town will have to consider with that law that are more policy-oriented items.
Okay, so February 2nd, we can introduce the local law to increase the existing ones we have. So we can do the senior,
Senior
the
and
alternative
veterans.
veteran, and the Cold War
Cold War
veteran.
veterans.
So
Yeah.
those, because the other local law we're going to have to present is the affordable housing zoning law and comprehensive plan
Yes.
addendum.
So we have the comp plan, yep, we're
And
setting a
then
public hearing for that.
and then that public hearing would be on March 2nd, but the public hearing for the exemptions would be on February 16th.
16th.
Okay,
Gonna have new,
have we got
a
that?
lot of new laws, okay.
And then at any time during the year, we can work on creating the new exemptions.
Yes, yeah, I mean, we can roll right in and have that pass and ready to go. Because, like I said, I think there are some more policy considerations for the board to look at, particularly with that law. As to the Cold War and veteran tax exemption, the way that it was structured under the county is that there was an escalation. Are we also going to want to do an escalation, or are you going to just, like, how do you want that, what do you want me to amend it to? I can go right to what it's going to be in 2025 for the county, or we can do it as they did it, or just, I mean, what exemption levels do you want?
You're talking about the veterans.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of just following the
Yeah,
county's
she would.
lead.
Yeah, she said, I would suggest continuing that practice and making the town uniform with the county.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have an escalator.
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be the easier ones, or the
Good.
doable ones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And then if you have any questions, you can call the assessor
Okay,
and discuss it with the assessor.
great,
Okay?
thank you.
Okay, the draft Recreation Commission bylaws with comments.
I think my comments were already incorporated, so that's good.
Yeah, they are. You have the red line version.
Yeah, I have a red line version. One was just redundancy and, yeah, the other stuff I think is mostly Ian just cleaning up some language. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to accept these as drafted with red lines.
Does anybody else have any other comments or questions?
Now, do we again have to do a local law to make this happen, or this is just something that gets attached to our?
It's just a resolution, I think.
Okay.
I would, since the commission was created by resolution, and at the time it was created, none of this was implemented, so I would do this by resolution as well.
Okay.
And I'll send you the budget line for the capital improvement fund budget.
Perfect, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
So you can do a resolution for the next meeting?
Just to say, the Recreation Commission did look at the bylaws and they do approve.
And I'm sorry, you approved,
Yes, we
right?
approve.
Good.
We're happy
Okay,
with them.
great. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, what we're looking at is the ones with the comments.
So we'll have,
I'm looking at the ones that were sent out by his secretary the other day.
Yes, so you were provided the exact copy they had. I had provided comments to Leo's questions in a separate email too.
so we just, I mean, you need to do a resolution for us to approve these. Okay, got it.
Put that on your list for
It's on the-
February
on the
2nd.
list.
Yeah, you can, you know, it can be another couple of meetings. I think they can work from the draft for the near future.
We can get it done.
Okay. Now we can, is there any other public comment? I figured as much.
Bye.
So, all right, how's it going, everybody? I have public comments as the Amenia Lions member. Recently, just tonight, we were having a Amenia Lions member meeting, and we came back around to, we're getting ready to do our scholarships for the year. This year, we're going to do $1,000, and there's going to be 5 of them. One's going to be for military service. anyone that joins up for the military, nursing, trade school, community service, and I can't remember the fifth one. But just tell your kids, tell your grandkids, go down, and your seniors down here, tell them to go down there and see the guidance counselor, right? That's what we've raised. I mean, we're giving out $5,000
That's great.
to any kids that show up. That's what we do this fundraising in this community for. We had a very successful 300 Club dinner this year again. We had new people show up, which we appreciate. But that's the whole point of what we do, right? We fundraise the money within the community so we can give it back to the community. The big thing for us is we need to stress to all of you kids out there that once you get this scholarship, follow up on it. We have had so many kids that have not followed up after the first semester, and the money just goes back into our account. They win the scholarship, they do their first semester, but then they don't come back to us, and then we don't give them the money. So, but we changed it up a little bit this year. Like I said, it's a $1,000 scholarship. So get your kids down there if you got a senior, get your kids down there if they're like in nursing, any of this stuff, if they've done a community service, let's get them down there and get this money used up. Thank you. Have a good night.
If you, Paul,
Yes.
if the Lions would like to send me the criteria on, on all the
Okay.
scholarships that are available, how to apply, who to apply to,
Okay.
and send that information to me, we'll put it on the website
Okay.
and on Channel 22.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay, resolution number
16.
Resolution for standard workday and reporting for New York State and local retirement system. Whereas it is required by the New York State Employees Retirement System that all active employees and elected and appointed officials participating in the retirement system have a locally established standard workday for the purposes of reporting retirement credit. Whereas the town of Amenia has active full-time and part-time employees and elected and appointed officials who participate in the New York State Employees Retirement System. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts the following as standard workdays for active full-time and part-time employees and elected and appointed officials, and will report the following days' work to the New York State and local retirement system. Motor equipment operator, 8 hours. Working foreman, 8 hours. Secretary to Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals, 8 hours. Recreation director, 8 hours. Assessor, 6 hours. Assessor aide, 6 hours. Deputy town clerk, 6 hours. Groundskeeper cleaner, 6 hours. Clerk, 6 hours. Secretary to supervisor, 6 hours. Secretary to Zoning Board of Appeals, 6 hours. Typist, 6 hours, bookkeeper, 6 hours, building inspector, 6 hours, constable, 6 hours, real property lister, 6 hours, all other elected and appointed officials, 6 hours, and I make that motion.
And I'll second it because I have a question.
What?
It says all elected or appointed officials 6 hours. Does that include 10 board members? Because,
Yes,
Yes.
yeah?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to do
we should have. We did not.
no, I mean, how are we supposed to record that? Or
We
how
just
would one record
Get
that?
a calendar and
There's a
start
form that
writing.
you have to actually fill out that gets sent in. So like
Okay.
after you, for a period.
We
after the
can
period-
talk
yeah,
offline,
After
I
the
just-
3 months, after you do your thing, then you send it in, and then the board accepts it.
Okay.
And then that's how they come up
But
with
if I'm
the
not
hours.
looking for that, I don't have to,
Do
Correct,
anything.
if you're not looking
No.
for your retirement.
thank you. I'm already retired, it's too late.
Well, you can get a second
No,
retirement.
I'm kidding.
People do that all the time.
All right, we'll talk. Oh, so we need to take a
Supervisor
vote.
Brody, you do, are you good, no, are you good, Leo?
What?
Good?
Yeah, good,
Okay.
good.
Supervisor Brody?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Bravard?
Yes.
Resolution 17. Resolution approving the carryover of unused vacation time. Whereas pursuant to the Town of Amenia Employee Handbook, all full-time and part-time employees paid an hourly basis and regularly scheduled to work at least 15 hours per week are eligible for paid vacation leave. Whereas an eligible employee may carry over vacation leave from one year to the next with the approval of their department head. Whereas each department head must report all approved vacation leave carryover to the secretary of the supervisor. Whereas the secretary of the supervisor has received the following approved requests for vacation leave carryover, which are annexed hereto and made a part hereof. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the town board hereby approves the request received into the Secretary of the Supervisor's Office to carry over vacation accruals from 2022, which are annexed hereto. Request to carry over vacation accruals from 2022 received in Secretary to Supervisor Office, Marge Arnold's 22 hours, Erica Howard 8 hours, Judy Westfall 26 hours. I make that motion?
I'll second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Resolution 18.
Do you want me to do some reading? Victoria, are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Establishment of the Climate Smart Communities Task Force, whereas the town of Amenia seeks to take actions that will reduce its energy consumption, transition to renewable energy, and improve its resilience to the impacts of climate change. Whereas the Conservation Advisory Council provides the town of Amenia with official planning review and other recommendations and activities related to the environment. Whereas the town of Amenia passed the Climate Smart Community Pledge Resolution on September 7, 2017. Whereas the New York State Climate Smart Community Program lists the creation of a Climate Smart Community Task Force as a mandatory step in the program. Whereas the New York State Climate Smart Communities Program lists the creation of the role of a Climate Smart Communities Task Force Coordinator as a mandatory step in the program. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, upon the recommendation of the CAC, hereby seeks to establish the Climate Smart Communities Task Force and create the role of Climate Smart Communities Task Force Coordinators. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby establishes the Climate Smart Communities Task Force and the role of the Climate Smart Communities Task Force Coordinators. 3, that the Climate Smart Communities Task Force shall function as a subcommittee of the CAC. 4, that the Climate Smart Community Task Force shall consist of at least 3 residents of the community, including the Climate Smart Communities Task Force coordinators, and at least 1 government representative, either elected official or staff. 5, that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia names Michael Peak, CAC Chair, Stacy Mantle, CAC Member, and Local Champion as the Climate Smart Communities Task Force coordinators. 6, that the Climate Smart Communities Task Force coordinators are responsible for appointing task force members with the approval of the government liaison. 7, that the Climate Smart Communities Task Force shall provide the town board with information about establishing and implementing climate smart initiatives, to propose new ideas to the town board, to identify funding sources for projects and paybacks from investment, and to manage climate-related projects. 8, that the Climate Smart Communities Task Force shall meet at least twice a year, provide written minutes for each meeting to the town clerk and the town board members. 9, that the members of the Climate Smart Communities Task Force shall serve at the pleasure of the Town of Amenia Town Board in accordance with the guidelines for the Town of Amenia committees. I make that motion.
I'll second because I have a question again. It isn't clear how the government member is appointed. Is that person appointed by the town board or by the...
It's the liaison.
Oh, it's the liaison, okay. Just wasn't clear, thank you.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 19. Authorizing Town Board of the Town of Amenia to accept a donation of funds from Tower Hill Roadway 123 LLC to contribute to the cost of paving Tower Hill Road. Whereas Tower Hill Road is an official town road in the town of Amenia and is contained within the New York State Department of Transportation local road listings. Whereas Tower Hill Road is currently unpaved and subject to washouts and ruts and is oftentimes difficult to travel. Whereas the town of Amenia is seeking to pave the road to reduce the potential for washouts and potholes, to reduce the accumulation of debris that clogs drainage along the road, to reduce the overall maintenance costs, and to increase the accessibility to the properties located on Tower Hill Road to emergency vehicles. Whereas the paving of Tower Hill Road will be conducted from its intersection with New York State Route 22 to the town of Washington, town of Amenia town line, whereas the length of the proposed improvement is approximately 2 miles and will include the removal, replacement, and upsizing of existing road culverts and paving the road with no substantial change in grade or width following the center line of the existing traveled way. Whereas Tower Hill Roadway 123 LLC has offered to donate $277,000.00 toward the actual cost of the asphalt needed to pave the approximate 2-mile section of Tower Hill Road from the town of Amenia border with the town of Washington to Route 22, according to the specifications set forth by the town engineer and the town highway superintendent, and in accordance with the following conditions. 1, the town of Amenia will be responsible for obtaining any permits or approvals from any government agency or authority as may be required to perform the work. 2, the gift provided by Tower Hill Roadway 123 LLC would be its sole responsibility, and at no time would Tower Hill Roadway 123 LLC agree to or be responsible for undertaking or completing or maintaining the work of hiring contractors or any other payment of costs not associated with the work or any amount in excess of the gift amount. 3, by giving said gift, Tower Hill Roadway 123 LLC shall have no liability to the town and any third party related to the roadway or improvements made thereon. And 4, the town shall be responsible for obtaining any easements or acquisition of real property as may be required to undertake the work. 5, the town shall remain responsible at its own cost and expense to maintain and repair the roads in the same manner as all other official paved roads within the town of Amenia and on the New York State Department of Transportation local road listings. Whereas pursuant to town law, section 64(8), the town board of the town of Amenia may take by gift, grant, bequest, or device and hold real and personal property, absolutely or in trust for parks or gardens or for the erection of statues, monuments, buildings, or structure for any public use upon such terms or conditions as may be prescribed by the grantor or donor and accepted by said town, and provide for the proper administration of the same. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia would like to graciously accept this generous gift from Tower Hill Roadway 123 LLC in the amount of $277,000.00 to be used in accordance with the provisions set forth above. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the town board of the town of Amenia, on behalf of all the residents of the town of Amenia, hereby graciously accepts this generous donation from Tower Hill Roadway 123 LLC in the amount of $277,000.00 for the purposes set forth above and in accordance with the conditions provided in this resolution. And I make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Purdy,
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle,
Yes.
Blackman,
Yes.
Revlar.
Yes.
And the resolution creating the Water and Wastewater Committee, it will be tabled.
I'm sorry, what happened to it? It isn't drafted yet, or is there a?
So
No, there is a problem.
there
Oh.
was a problem. So apparently the town of Amenia has codified into its code the water committee. So in order to amend or combine, it would require local law. So it was not able to be done.
Could we do the same thing that happens at the CAC, where there's two groups that share members?
It's different if it's codified. Neither one of those are codified.
Oh, the CAC.
Yeah,
No.
conceptually, it's not, that's not the problem. The problem is we have a code that states that the water committees shall exist. And
They
so
don't.
that kind of
Okay.
puts a nail in the coffin until we do it as a local law. So that's really the only, so the
So it
board
could
would
be
have
done
to.
as a local law, but it would have to be done as a local law.
Yes, yeah. And the water committee is under, there's a whole chapter in the code on it where there isn't a corresponding wastewater section in the code. So
It's a
it can
mess.
be done, but it's,
It's not a mess, it just, you have to, it just takes a little more
yeah. there-
work to make it
Make it
happen.
happen.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, just because, I mean, it would look, it's a little odd to have wastewater committee in the water code.
Right, complicated.
And we don't have, so we would have to look into that, figure out the best way to do that, put it
Okay.
into the code if that's what the board would like to do. So that's essentially why it was
Okay, thanks.
the hiccup.
Okay, resolution adopting solar permit application form, resolution number 20. Adopting the New York State Unified Solar Permit application form for the installation of photovoltaic systems pursuant to the Amenia Town Code. Whereas in accordance with the Amenia Town Code, Section 121-52.1, the Town Board of the Town of Amenia seeks to adopt the annexed New York State Unified Solar Permit application form for the installation of photovoltaic systems pursuant to the Town Code. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the recitations set forth are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the Town of Amenia Code Enforcement Officer is hereby directed to use the annexed New York State Unified Solar Permit application form for the issuance of building permits for the installation of photovoltaic systems installed and pursuant to the Town Code Section 121-52.1. 3, any further actions required of the Town of Amenia to effectuate the foregoing are hereby authorized, and the town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute and deliver any instruments, documents, or the like as required to effectuate the same. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second, and I have a statement. The page 5 of 5 is, got a typo. Page 405 is correct, but when you go to page 5 of 5, you've got somebody who, there's a big blank space, and the real balance of page 5.5 is on what should be page 6, if you had a page 6. We don't need a page 6. Town of Amenia should start here. And
In other words, we just need to move the
So we
stuff
just
that's on
need to- We
we
5
need to delete
4.
that empty three-quarters of a page and bring page 6, but it says it's page 5, but it's
right,
actually
got
page
it.
6. Pull that onto that page 5. So it is 5 pages of 5,
Yep.
which would make everything else correct.
Okay.
And they did not remember to put in Town of Amenia, so municipality name would then be Town of Amenia.
Okay, so we can,
I've made that change, they sent the wrong one, I guess, or whatever. I can send it in, or send it to the town clerk with the change. That's the only change that needed to be done. Insert the Town of Amenia and delete this empty
Well,
space.
was this done by the building inspector? Who actually put this
And
together?
Nicole did the last draft, but she sent one again that has this blank space.
The blank space might be just, I'm just
It's a hard return 4 million times or something. They just
Yeah, and it might just be
accidentally.
as they print it out, it does it too, I don't know.
Oh.
Because it,
I
It
think we
could
just
be
need to
that it
print it again.
yeah.
We can reprint it, but also, like I said, Town of Amenia needs to be
might have
inserted.
to.
Okay, we'll read, okay,
So, as
well,
amended.
the one we'll actually use will have Town of Amenia, and it'll be reprinted correctly
On 5 pages.
on
as it-
5 pages.
Great.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
Did we vote already?
Yeah. Supervisor Prody,
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle,
Yes.
Blackman,
Yes.
Revlard.
Yes.
Resolution number 21 of 2023, resolution adopting fee schedule for the building department. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia is seeking to revise the building department fee schedule for the submission of applications, issuing of building permits, amended building permits, renewed building permits, certificates of occupancy, operating permits, fire safety, and property maintenance inspections and other actions of the code enforcement officer described in or contemplating in section 63 of the town code.
Chapter 63.
Whereas the town code enforcement officer has recommended that the town board consider increasing certain fees which have not been increased in many years. Whereas pursuant to town code section 63-16, the fees charged and collected for the submission of application, the issuance of building permits, amended building permits, renewed building permits, certificates of occupancy, operating permits, fire safety, and property maintenance inspections, and other actions of the code enforcement officer described in and contemplated in Chapter 63 of the Town Code shall be established and amended by Town Board resolution. Now therefore be it resolved as follows: the recitations set forth above are incorporated this resolution as fully set forth and adopted herein. To the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby adopts the annexed building department fee schedule effective January 19, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Supervisor Prody,
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle,
Yes.
Blackman,
Yes.
Revlard.
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 22 of 2023.
This is why Damien didn't come.
Might in fact be.
You're in his seat.
What? I'm happy to read whenever you want.
Okay, if you think you can get through it.
I don't know about that, but we'll give it a shot. Resolution number
22.
22 of 2023, transfer of funds for December, number 2, 2022. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary or unanticipated to amend the budget, and whereas the budget amendment in the general fund increasing revenue line 2555.01 building permits by $5,187.89 and increasing expense line 16204.01.062 buildings CE maintenance by $5,187.89 for expenses. All right, I'm tired already. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing revenue line 2260.01 public safety services by $700.62 and increasing expense line 30204.01 public safety community something service by $701.62 for sheriff cost. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing revenue line 3005.01 state aid mortgage aid by $16,251.07 and increasing expense line 14,204.
No, the line-
14, what?
14201.
Oh, sorry, 14204.01 attorney CE by $7,868.00 and increasing expense line 36201.01 safety inspection PS by $8,383.07 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 13554.01.044, assessor CE, how do you say that, Sartorius, by $465, and decreasing expense line 13554.01.063, assessor CE mileage by $397.08, and decreasing expense line 16554.01.058, assessor CE grievance by $43.43, and decreasing expense line 1355401.074, assessor CE supplies by $19.81, and decreasing expense line 16604.01.074, central storeroom supplies by $4.68 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 13551.01, assessors PS, by $667.25, and decreasing expense line 13554.01.48, assessors CE conferences, by $635.68, and decreasing expense line 16554.01.58, assessors CE grievance, by $31.57 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 16204.01.124, buildings CE snow removal, by $9,174, and decreasing expense line 16201.01, buildings PS, by $8,464.20, and decreasing expense line 16204.01.056, buildings CE / Fountain Square lights, by $709.80 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 16204.01.054, building CE electrical, by $312.58, and increasing expense line 16204.01.077, building CE telephone, by $638.63, decreasing expense line 16204.01.064, building CE mowing, by $951.21 for additional costs. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 71104.01.089, Amenia Park CE ballpark lights, by $66.08, and increasing expense line 71804.01.074, spec rec facilities CE, by $11.89, and increasing expense line 71104.01 Amenia Park by $8.80, and decreasing expense line 73104.01.121 Youth Program Senior League by $86.77 for unanticipated cost. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing revenue line 2089.01.148, other cultural and recreation senior trips, by $8,137, and increasing expense line 67724.01.148, programs for the aging senior trips, by $8,138 per accountant. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 80204.01.158, planning CE / housing, by $3,556.53, and decreasing expense line 80104.01.074, zoning CE supplies, by $2,703.75, and decreasing expense line 80204.01, planning CE, by $852.78 for AKRF expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 11104.01.072, justices CE / interpreters, by $39.30, and decreasing expense line 11104.01.076, justices CE technical, by $39.30 for unanticipated costs. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 14404.01, engineers CE by $828.81, and decreasing expense line 14204.01.123, attorney CE codification by $828.81 for unanticipated costs. Oh, no, there's more. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 16704.01.061, central print mail legals by $307.26, and decreasing expense line 16704.01.068, central print mail / postage by $307.26 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 16804.01, data processing by $711.25, and decreasing expense line 14704.01, ethics board CE by $500, and decreasing expense line 19894.01.057, other general government support grant administration by $211.25 for anticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 50101.01, superintendent of highways PS by $46.27, and decreasing expense line 50104.01.048, superintendent of highway CE conferences by $46.20 for cost. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 51324.01.062, garage CE maintenance by $490.51, and decreasing expense line 51324.01.059, garage CE heat by $490.51 for expense. Whereas budget amendment in the general funds, increasing expense line 85104.01, community beautification by $5,921.78, and decreasing expense line 71401.01, playgrounds rec PS by $5,690.55, and decreasing expense line 80104.01.048, zoning CE conferences by $231.23 for mechanic street tree trimming. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing revenue line 4089.01, federal aid other by $3,750, and increase 99019.01, interfund transfer by $3,750 for transfer from American Rescue Fund to Water Fund for SEBI CAD property designs for wells. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 97307.01.850, interest on bond Greene County by $14,320.25, and decreasing expense line 90108.01, state retirement by $14,320.25. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing line 2115.01.157, planning board fees escrow by $165,500.83, and increased line 14204.01.157, attorney CE escrow by $97,620.99, and increased line 14404.01.157, engineers CE escrow by $54,988.84, and increased line 16704.01.061, central print mail by $2,111, and increased line 19894.01.157, other general government support escrow by $10,780 for reclassification by accountant to recognize planning board escrow activity. Whereas budget amendment in the highway fund, increasing expense line 51304.03, machinery CE by $14,076.85, and increasing expense line 51304.03.036, machinery CE diesel by $953.49, and increasing expense line 51122.03.112, improvements EQ revenue CHIPS by $1.08, and decreasing expense line 51424.03, snow removal CE by $15,000 at $15,031.42 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the water fund, increasing revenue line 909.06, appropriated fund balance by $8,214.44, increasing expense line 83204.06, source power pump CE by $5,532.01, and increasing expense line 83304.06.117, purification CE laboratory by $72, and increasing expense line 83406.06, transmission distribution by $7,187.85, and decreasing expense line 83104.06, administration CE by $1,558, and decreasing expense line 83302.06, purification EQ by $1,000, and decreasing expense line 83402.06, transmission distribution EQ by $2,019.42 for additional expenses. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes the transfer of necessary budget lines to process the transaction. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know what I was thinking.
Other matters? Resolution 23. I can do this if you're
Okay.
hanging in there.
That's SEBI?
Yes.
Okay.
Approving an agreement between the Town of Amenia and SEBI Environmental Services Incorporated for operation and maintenance of the Town of Amenia water facilities. Whereas the town is the owner of certain water district facilities located in the Town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York, known as Town of Amenia Water District Number 1, and provides water services to residents of the Town of Amenia. Whereas SEBI Environmental Services Incorporated is a full-service environmental company which is willing, able, and qualified to provide water and wastewater operations, repair, and maintenance, among other things, to support the town's needs. Whereas the town and the contractor are desirous of entering into an agreement which sets forth in more detail the scope of services that contractor is to provide the town and the terms pursuant to which contractor will be reimbursed for such services. And whereas the services that contractor is to provide to the town constitute professional services which are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law, Section 103. Whereas this is a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and therefore not subject to review under seeker. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as it fully is set forth and adopted herein. That the town board hereby approves the form and terms of agreement between the Town of Amenia and the contractor for operation and maintenance of the Town of Amenia water facilities, which is annexed here to and made a part hereof. 3, that this is a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. Seeker, and therefore not subject to review under seeker. That 4, that the town board hereby authorizes a supervisor to execute said agreement in substantially the same form as annexed hereto, upon review of the attorney for the town, a copy of which will be filed and kept on record with the town clerk. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Town board comments?
Only one. I know that we received the assessment and I guess we haven't heard, for Lake Amenia Road, for the property with the house on it, the Community Development Block Grant. I know that the assessment, or not the assessment, but the estimate came in, the appraisal came in. I don't know whether the survey has been completed, but I
I
wasn't...
haven't received it.
Okay, but I didn't know what the next step was after that. I was just curious.
Well, I'm not sure what it is either.
Okay, well, we'll ask Ian then.
We'll have to wait till we get it and then go from there.
Okay? That's all I got.
Are there any other town board comment?
I have the CAC committee report. I didn't see committees on there, so here it is. The CAC, this is from Michael Peak, the chair of the CAC. The CAC has hit the ground running in the new year and was well represented at local meetings this week. On Tuesday, we reconnected with the 10 Mile River Collaborative, and HVA introduced their new watershed manager, Claire Way, who we expect to be working closely with moving forward. After several years of work, HVA, along with the collaborative, has produced a management plan for the 10 Mile River watershed, which has already been adopted by our neighboring towns of Northeast and Dover. We discussed potential modifications to the plan with regard to the town of Amenia that we feel will strengthen our position to secure future grants. We urge the town board to adopt the plan before the next round of grants is upon us. On Wednesday, we attended the long-awaited kickoff meeting of the Dutchess County Climate Action Planning Institute. This working group is funded by the New York State DEC's Climate Smart program and is comprised of 9 towns and municipalities, including Dutchess County, the cities of Beacon and Poughkeepsie, the towns of Amenia, town of Amenia, Pleasant Valley, Poughkeepsie, and Rhinebeck, and the villages of Rhinebeck and Wappingers Falls. According to the DEC, this is the largest such group to date, led by representatives from Dutchess County, the Hudson Valley Regional Council, and ICLEI, I-C-L-E-I, Local Governments for Sustainability. Members of this group will compile and analyze data from government operations to create greenhouse gas inventories and climate action plans for their local communities. As a sparsely populated rural town with limited resources, we are very fortunate to be part of this group. We also discussed some new ideas for this year's Earth Days festivities and will provide updates as these plans come together. Finally, we'd like to thank the town board for passing resolutions tonight to formally establish our Climate Smart Task Force as a subcommittee of the CAC and to adopt the New York State Unified Solar Permit for use by the Building Department. Sincerely, Michael Peak, CAC, Town of Amenia.
Could you forward that to me, Vicki?
I think I did.
Oh, you just did?
Yeah, it should be at the
Wow.
top of your inbox.
Okay, I turned off my phone. I didn't. I wasn't listening.
I had my own report, which covered some of the CACs, so I'll just summarize my own thoughts of where we're at. The Climate Action Planning Institute kickoff was Wednesday. We already talked about that, and we are thrilled to have an assigned intern from Vassar, Julia Reigert, R-E-I-G-R-U-T, who will be helping the CAC's Climate Smart Task Force 4 days, I think, per week. Or maybe that's per month, but she is going to ultimately help us begin tracking our municipalities' greenhouse gas emissions and the other goals that we have for reducing, switching over to clean energy and reducing our overall impact. The adoption of the Universal Solar Permit and resolution tonight represents our 4th high-impact action and will mean Amenia is a designated clean energy community. That announcement, when we upload those documents, once they're completed and fixed up, it'll come with a $5,000 grant as a congratulations from NYSERDA, New York State Energy Research and Development Agency. I believe that's what NYSERDA stands for. The Enhancement Committee needs at least one more member, a volunteer, to return it to an active committee by my count. Please include the Enhancement Committee on the attached, I didn't attach the list, but there's a list of the open volunteer positions on our website, and I want it included also in the press releases so we can get that committee up and running again. I know Brad is the official liaison, but I've been on the Enhancement Committee as a volunteer before I even moved to after I moved to this committee, that was the first thing I did, and it's my pleasure to serve as a volunteer or whatever I can do to help it, because I feel all the work I do for Enhancement Committee as a volunteer is a tribute to Herb Eschbach, who gave so much to this community and ensured for all these years, very quietly, that our Veterans Memorial Park, as he would call it, rather than Fountain Square, he always emphasized Veterans Park, that it always looked good and was a proper tribute to our veterans. So I will continue volunteering in any capacity to make sure the Veterans Park looks good. We do need to fix the brickwork. I was just at the bank today. The brickwork is deteriorating. The donor bricks need to be redone. Many of them are not still legible. And
I dropped the ball on that.
no, we're going to work on that and get
Oh,
that
okay.
done. And I suggest that we fix the water spigot at the bank entrance because it's very difficult to get it up and down. It's just not working properly. So I know we got a grant from Bank of Millbrook's president. His personal foundation gave a grant, so I look forward to working as I can to make some desperately needed improvements to Fountain Square. I'm also looking forward to my new role as liaison to the Zoning Board of Appeals and to facilitating the process of acquiring much-needed land for workforce housing, wastewater, and water district infrastructure. That's all. Thanks. I'll forward it to you.
Are there any other town board comments?
Yes, so we had our wastewater committee meeting on January 10th, and it was by Zoom. Charlie Miller was elected as the chair, and John Stewart was elected as the secretary. Present were Charlie Miller, John Stewart, Paul Winters, myself, Leo was there, and Billy Flood. What else? We had there was a lot of discussion about the consolidation of the wastewater committee and water committee, which we discussed tonight. So, which apparently that's on hold, but that was a big part of the meeting. And there's a lot of discussion about the inadequacies of, for example, not enough pressure within the town to have the fire hydrants working properly. And I see Marco in the back here. You might know something about that. And that's about it. We're enhanced. They're going to continue on with the door knocking campaign to get more support for the wastewater, and so far everything that they've done has been met with a tremendous amount of positive input, and they're going to continue that project.
Is there any other town board comment?
I know you guys interviewed this evening. Were you ready to take an
yeah.
action?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good
So as the
point.
town board had the opportunity to interview a candidate for an open volunteer position, if the town board's ready to make action this evening, I'm sure she'd be eager and willing to start right away.
Motion to appoint Jordan Shook, our town historian.
Second?
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
Quite all right.
Thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Are there any other town board or other comments? If not, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
9:25. Supervisor Perotti?
Oh, I think what I need to do before the motion to adjourn is announce that the executive session pending Kent Hollow litigation is canceled.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, right.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.